The NFL on NBC, Mile High Stadium this afternoon, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Denver Broncos. Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Jones. Today we have two teams on entirely different missions. First, the expansion Jacksonville. Their mission, well, it's respect. They have won 3. They have lost 9. They would like to win a couple more before the season is over. The mission for the Denver Broncos entirely different. Their goal is to make the playoffs. Their record is 6-6. They are in the wild card race, but Miami wins today, so you can see Denver really with their work cut out for them, as only 3 of those teams will make it into the playoffs as a wild card. Randy Cross joins us. Let's talk now about the Denver Broncos. And, of course, when you think of the Broncos, it's number 7, John Elway.
Well, John Elway's having a John Elway kind of a year. But, you know, in talking to him, Charlie, I detect a much more relaxed. You know, he's always been poised, but, you know, he's not carrying the load all by himself on offense, and it really shows.
He is very pleased to have Terrell Davis as a running back behind him. The rookie's had a great year.
He's going to go over 1,000 yards today, Charlie. But the 2 things I like best about this kid is he catches the ball great out of the backfield, and he loves to block. But here in Denver, the problem is the defense. And when you talk defense here, you talk about Michael Dean Perry having to get in the quarterback's face. They have to get a pass rush, and I think that's where it's going to come from, in the middle.
All right, now let's talk about Jacksonville and their quarterback situation.
Well, Mark Brunell, who's the leading rusher, coincidentally, for the Jaguars, won't play today because of a pulled hamstring he pulled 2 weeks ago against Tampa. The starter today will be Steve Berline. Very much a pocket passer, a very poised quarterback who I don't really think has ever really gotten his shot in the league.
All right, now for Jacksonville, the key could well be their offensive line.
I really think it is, especially when you talk about Brunell, who runs so well inside the red zone. They've been great, but now that Berline's at quarterback, they're not quite as effective. This line has got to protect Steve Berline because he's going to be sitting back there and he's going to be a target.
And one of the nice things this afternoon, the weather, it is absolutely gorgeous. The temperature is 51 degrees. We're nearing, well, we're past the 2-hour mark in the afternoon here at Mile High Stadium. So it's going to drop into the 40s, obviously, before the afternoon is over. But it is really a gorgeous day. The head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tom Coughlin, the record, as I said, was 3-9. And for Mike Shanahan, and he faces another one. It becomes a cliche. There's a reason that it's a cliche. When you're in that kind of a battle, it is another, quote, must, end quote, game.
Well, Charlie, and it tells you a lot about the year the Broncos have had when they're coming in against an expansion team in their place, and it's a key game they've got to win.
The Denver Broncos winning the toss, and that means that Glenn Milburn will be the return man, and he is having an outstanding year. Mike Hollis will kick it away for Jacksonville. It is high and very short, and it is taken by, that I believe is Jeff Robinson. Robinson is a defensive lineman and one of the blocking upbacks. So good field position for the Denver Broncos, as Jacksonville wanted to stay away from Glenn Milburn. And number 7 is going to bring it out, John Elway, and here's their offensive line.
This is the best offensive line, Charlie, that John Elway's had in his career here in Denver.
And backs and receivers.
We talked about Terrell Davis. Anthony Miller the last month is on a torrid pace as far as catching the long ball. When they go to 3 wides, they'll bring in the former 49er, Ed McCaffrey.
So Denver will start from their own 39-yard line, first down. And one of the things you might notice right away is that John Elway will be looking directly into the afternoon setting sun. You can tell, of course, from the shadows. And they start out with a give to Terrell Davis. On a sweep to the left side, he has the corner and out of bounds. So he's going to pick up around 12, maybe 13 yards on the play. And with that play, he goes over 1,000 yards rushing for the rookie.
And he's going to keep that football too, Charlie. He throws it to the sideline for his teammates to carry. And a little bit different approach. Mike Shanahan brings him out of a slot position to get that run going. When a guy's successful, especially a young back like Terrell Davis, defenses start keying on him. And the key to take some of the pressure off that young guy, move him around, put him in different places, but still get him the ball.
First down, Jacksonville, 48-yard line. And still on the ground. They tried it to the left. Now they come back to the right again with Davis. And this time he's going to pick up about 5 yards. We mentioned that Terrell Davis going over 1,000 yards. 1,000-yard rookie rushers drafted 3rd round or later. Terrell Davis taken in the 6th round.
Well, he's low down on that list, but he is the lowest drafted running back ever to get 1,000 yards. Don Woods for the Chargers was also a 6th-round draft pick, but there were a lot less picks back when Don Woods did it.
It is 2nd down. Opening drive of the ball game. Graver moving in motion. Elway to throw for the first time. Comes back underneath the coverage. Over the middle 40-yard line. Coming to Davis. It is incomplete. So it will be third down, and that means we have time to set up the defense for Jacksonville. And here's their front seven.
They really are missing a pass rush, and their best pass rusher, Jeff Lageman's, inactive today.
And their secondary.
The secondary is going to get picked on by John Elway. You talked about the big plays coming out of Miller. Watch Vinnie Clark and Washington on the corners. In the nickel, they go to Thomas and Green.
Third down and 5. 5 on the pattern. Elway slips away, throws, has a man wide open at the 26-yard line. And it's Anthony Miller. Converting on third down and 5. He's going to pick up in the neighborhood of 20 yards. Mark it for 23 yards.
Well, this is an expansion team getting their first John Elway lesson. When you put pressure on Elway and you make him move, you better maintain your pass drops and the exact discipline of your zones, because he's going to find a way to throw that ball all the way back across his body and find Anthony Miller. And look how hard Anthony Miller works. He never really slows down. He finds the hole, and that's just that mesh between he and Elway that's come this year.
And here is Davis, a straight shot from the 20 to the 15. So add 5 more yards to his total. It'll be second down and 5. Paul Fraze with the tackle for Jacksonville.
Well, Charlie, 2 weeks ago we were here for the Chargers and the Broncos. Terrell Davis was the running game for the Broncos. 30 carries, 176 yards. No one else touched the ball running, and the Broncos get off to a start that looks like more of the same.
Change in the secondary for Jacksonville. The rookie Travis Davis is the free safety replacing Mike Dumas in the standard set. Second down and 5, 15-yard line opening drive of the ball game for the Denver Broncos. Little play action fake. Elway rolls all the time in the world. Sets, waits, and then throws it away. Pretty good coverage for Jacksonville as he had a lot of time. Simply nothing there.
I can only imagine the look on Pritchard's face just there. Elway rolled out. Pritchard was standing on the first down marker out of bounds when Elway threw that thing at him, and he kind of put his hands up and quickly put him down. Like, I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to catch it.
No.
That's a worthless one.
So 15-yard line now, third down and 5. In this drive, the Broncos converted on third down and 5, and they picked up 23 yards on that play. Remember, they went to Anthony Miller. So will he look for Miller here?
Red zone's a great passing area for Shannon Sharp.
Again, good protection. Going back underneath the coverage. He goes to Mike Pritchard, and Pritchard is going to be close to the first down. If he gets the mark, he has to just go to the 10 as he started at the 20. He's going to have it 9-yard line.
You know, Michael Pritchard is finally healthy, and when he catches balls like this, it really emphasizes his value as a former running back. Played for the Colorado Buffaloes here outside of Denver, and what he can do after he catches the ball is what makes him so special.
And you talked about the red zone. That is inside the 20. This is what Denver has done. And it's first down and goal to go from the 9. And a fumble. Terrell Davis fumbles at the bottom of the stack. Jacksonville says that they do have it. Continuing action playing. The officials say they do. The fumble by Terrell Davis, and Jacksonville with the recovery, and that is Travis Davis. Remember, we mentioned a moment ago that he drew the starting assignment at free safety.
Well, Davis had that big pass interference call last week in the game they lost to Cincinnati, but Davis commits the cardinal error inside, and that's not having both hands on the ball. He runs into the back of Zimmerman there, 65, his tackle, and that pops the ball loose. Coaches go nuts when they watch tapes the next day and they don't see a guy, especially a young running back, down by the goal line with both hands over the football.
So Jacksonville, first opportunity on offense. They will start from their own 5-yard line with the south stand right behind them. That's where the noise is coming from. Just looking for a little bit of room, and slipping and sliding is Von Dunbar. Lionel Washington with the tackle. Let's check out that offense of Jacksonville. First, their offensive line.
Oh, the highlight, the big bookend rookies, Baselli and DeMarco.
Backs and receivers.
You know, Berline's faced with a situation really where it's almost not fair, only because this team does not have a big threat wide receiver. Even when they go to 3 wide and bring in Desmond Howard, he's got their best average per catch, and that's only 10.6 yards. That's very, very marginal by NFL standards.
We mentioned the noise, and it's right behind them from the south stand. Second down and 9. Good protection going deep out of the end zone. And it is caught. It is Ernest Givens spinning away, an excellent catch. As Berline was right on target, Ray Crockett finally makes the tackle, but Jacksonville with the first down, and they have some running room.
Well, how many times did you watch Givens catch one of these rockets from Warren Moon in Houston? Here Berline delivers it. The highlights the catch part. We're talking good coverage by Crockett. He is all over Givens. That's the kind of leadership, that's the kind of example a veteran receiver can give to Tom Coughlin's young receiving corps.
And a gain of 18 yards. Shea Maston is the fullback. Vaughn Dunbar is the tailback. First down, Jacksonville. No score in case you're just joining us. Play action fake. Sets. Goes back to the opposite side. Has a man open. Hits him at the 49-yard line. And it is Jimmy Smith who pulls it in. That is his 11th reception on the year. Ray Crockett is the man that they're picking on right now. 50-yard line. And Jacksonville has early live.
When you have a team backed up by the goal line inside their own 20, you've got to pressure the quarterback. Last two plays, no pressure at all on Berline. I don't care how bad the receivers are, how they haven't been able to get yardage. If you don't pressure a veteran, you are out of luck.
Gain of 26, 50-yard line. Now back to the ground, and it's Vaughn Dunbar. He's going to pick up, just mark it for a yard, 49-yard line, second down and 9, and that defense of Denver.
Well, really, Simon Fletcher's a shadow where he was pass rush-wise. That's part of the problem they have. Hasselbeck starts there for Dan Williams at the left end.
And their secondary.
And the secondary was victimized last week by Chris Chandler and Chris Sanders, the rookie from Houston, especially Crockett and Washington at the corners. Bring in Thomas and Hicks in the dime.
Second down and 9, Denver 49-yard line. 9 minutes, time remaining. We're in the first quarter with no score. Mile High Stadium, Denver. Gorgeous afternoon. To this side, and it is incomplete. Givens the intended receiver. Lionel Washington had the coverage. Now, when we talked with Jacksonville, they said two things had to happen for them to really participate. They had to shut down, keep out Michael Dean Perry, and they had to pick on the corners. And that was going to be their key.
That's a good key for Tom Coughlin's offense, only because if you can stuff him up inside, Berline has somewhere to step up. He has a pocket to get into. And believe me, these Denver corners can be taken advantage of if he gets the kind of time he's getting right now.
Givens split away wide to the near side. Third down and 9 from the shotgun. A bit of pressure. Pass is on target, and it is a first down. Cedric Tillman has the reception. Steve Atwater with the tackle, and it's first down Jacksonville.
That's got to feel good for Cedric Tillman, the former Bronco, and he's a big receiver, a big target, 6'2", about 210. He goes up for the ball and gets it, and what made that possible? Watch the double team working right here between Sean Bowens and Dave Waddell, the former Bronco at center. You know, Waddell's a real sloppy guy. I mean, he is a get dirty, and anybody with a nickname of Booger, if you're nicknamed Booger, you're a dirty kind of guy.
It's my vote. First down, Jacksonville. And a sweep to the right side. Here is Dunbar cut down. Good defensive play by James Jones, the other defensive tackle for Denver.
And that's really what he and Michael Dean do the best. They penetrate. Watch how quickly he gets across the line of scrimmage and gets into the backfield. Nowhere for Dunbar to go. He's working there against the center, Waddell. He came right across the center's face, and that's textbook defensive tackle. You see him leave the field. He stretched those fingers way back trying to make that tackle.
Loss of 3, second down, 13.
And yes, big guys do hurt their fingers, Charlie, and it hurts as much as little guys.
Maston is the remaining back, passing formation. Masterson in the block. Pass is on target, 31-yard line, and it's Desmond Howard. Howard spins away to the 30, so he's going to pick up 11 yards. It's going to be third down and 2.
But we're seeing two things that have plagued this Denver defense on the road specifically, and now at home at Mile High. One is a lack of a pass rush, getting really any kind of a push on the quarterback, and 2 is sloppy tackling. That tackle there by Washington, he was very lucky he got Desmond Howard, because Howard's not the fastest receiver in the world, but remember, he's a very good punt returner. He's one of those guys you don't want to give open field to.
Third down and 2, 30-yard line. James Stewart is the remaining back. Good defensive play. Lionel Washington rising to the occasion and knocking the ball down.
Well, here's a little back at you from the veteran Lionel Washington. Played a lot of years here in the AFC West with the Oakland/LA/Oakland Raiders. And right here, the right arm gets inside. And, you know, Givens could complain a little bit about maybe that was a push in the back or whatnot, but that's the kind of an edge a veteran corner gets away with, and a rookie doesn't.
Mike Hollis, 47-yard field goal attempt. He is hit from 53. And he is hit 15 of 20 on the year. And will it make it? And it does, just edging through from 47 yards away. And Jacksonville takes the early lead, 3-0. The early lead, 3-0. And note that all three wins. They have won 3 on the year. Came when they scored first. They scored first here. You see their head coach, Tom Coughlin. Terrell Davis with the fumble. And on the turnover, then, of course, Jacksonville, first opportunity in offense, went down and kicked the field goal.
Well, you know, Travis Davis recovered that thing for Jacksonville, and it was all Terrell Davis. In that drive, he made the critical mistakes. He made the big plays, too.
Davis, no relation, high and short, staying away from Milburn.
Whoa!
And that is Keith Burns, a linebacker. He is really, he wants it again.
That might be his best hit of the year.
It is. We've got a hit on our hands when we come back.
Brought to you by Buick and your local dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. By UPS, the official package delivery company of the NFL. By DirecTV, it's personalized TV. And by Panasonic Smooth Operator Electric Razors. Wetter is better.
Dave Thomas for Jacksonville is going to say, hey, I slipped. Keith Burns for Denver is going to say, did you see that fullback material on that return?
So Denver starts after, again, the short kickoff by Jacksonville. This time at the 41-yard line. Good defensive play. Excellent penetration by Brian Schwartz from St. Lawrence, South Dakota. And therein lies a tale.
Well, you know, what he does there is just a pure linebacker. Looking at the right side of the screen, reads the blocking pattern, runs through. This is a guy that's not noted as being a quick linebacker. He's a slugger. He's a 245, 250-pound linebacker, but got to love that reaction speed right there.
Second down and 14. Elway to throw. Looking into the sun. Underneath the coverage, pass is complete. Anthony Miller with that great speed. He can score down the line, and he does. And coasts into the end zone. Check, no flag. Matter of fact, we have had no flags thus far in the ballgame. 62 yards on the combination of John Elway to Anthony Miller.
Yards after the catch. The yak statistic. Michael Pritchard, great after the catch. And Anthony Miller in the last month has just blossomed on the big play. Averaging more than anybody else in this league on his touchdown passes. Pads those stats a little more.
Averaging almost 38 yards per reception when he scores, and that one again was 62 yards away. Now for the extra point. Jason Elam adds one more. And the reaction of number 7. I think he expected it.
Well, Charlie, I told you about the month this guy's had. November, he has just exploded for John Elway.
Mr. November. Desmond Howard on the return, slips a tackle. 20, flag is down, first flag, 24-yard line.
A little push in the back against Jacksonville. That's going to put him way in a hole.
Tim Houck with the tackle. And this will be the first time we hear from Bernie Kukai, the referee. I always wonder, why do we have that call so many times every Sunday afternoon?
Illegal block in the back, number 58 on the return team on the run back. First down.
When players know that rule, since they've been playing in Pop Warner.
It's desperation, Charlie. It's young guys trying to trying to make their mark, get the coach to notice them, and they do it. Unfortunately, it's not exactly the way they'd like to be noticed by their coach.
Steve Berline on the opening drive for Jacksonville, off to an excellent start. And now he starts from the 12-yard line. And he starts on the ground. And he'll start with the #1 draft choice, the rookie, James Stewart from Tennessee, and he is shredding the defense of the Broncos. And the Broncos defense has been struggling.
Well, you know, the offensive line does a good job here maintaining their blocks, but we talk about the offense. Miller's doing this, Pritchard's doing this, Davis is doing this, Elway's doing this, and this is about what the Broncos defense has been doing in the last month or so. They've been getting thumped.
So first down now for Jacksonville, the ball at their own 30-yard line.
There's Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator. I think he's got an excellent scheme here in Denver. I also happen to think he has very subpar personnel here in Denver.
Berline has completed 4 of 6 for 89 yards. This one is knocked away. Michael Dean Perry, the man that they told us we've got to shut him down. We have to keep him out of the backfield so he can pick on the corners. He makes the play here.
Well, job accomplished really for Sean Bowens in the offensive line. Look, they're in his face. They're keeping him away from Berline. And you don't always expect a guy that's he was listed at what, 6'1", 6'2"?
Mm-hmm.
I can clearly see the top of his head when we're talking, so I don't think he's exactly 6'2", but he gets up and blocks the pass anyway.
5'10 and a half, but not a vertical leap. And we're going to have flags. It'll be a false start against Jacksonville. And it was Brian DeMarco who jumped. And the defense of the Broncos, they're beginning now to move Michael Dean around some.
Well, Michael Dean moved first, and then the offensive line.
False start. Number 73 on the offense prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
You know, what the Denver defense is doing with Michael Dean is what they like to do against most teams. They love to have Jones on the nose because Jones is more of a pure nose guard. And they'll move Michael Dean. He won't just play against Bowens. They'll move him over to the left side. Let him play against Coleman at the right guard. And you saw his twitch kind of made the young rookie DeMarco say, well, if he can go, why shouldn't I?
And Jacksonville said, well, really, but we are going to be aware of where he is all the time. Here's pressure, steps away, buys some time, and he misses on the sideline pass. But Berline, in reality, was running out of time on the play.
Yeah, and that really showed you, the difference in kind of offenses. Remember, you watched Anthony Miller and the receivers for Denver really adjust their routes and do everything different. Kevin Gilbride, the offensive coordinator, made the point to us that at this point, his offense doesn't have those capabilities. They don't know how at this point to adjust to each other, to ad-lib, to anticipate what the receivers are going to do as a quarterback.
What about the expansion team, Carolina? They win again. They're having a great year. Jacksonville has won 3. They have lost 9.
Carolina gets their 6th win, and everybody's told Bill Walsh he was crazy thinking they would.
Has a man open and misses him. And it was Ernest Givens, and he threw behind him. There's a flag dropped at the 18-yard line. But Givens was wide open.
2 things. You got a hold against Jacksonville on that play, but that pass, Givens, it's thrown behind him, but it's also thrown into the sun.
Number 66 on the offense. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
And the hold on that play, watch Bowens working against Michael Dean. I refer to Michael Dean as kind of a spasm guy, and he throws that spasm, and Bowens, in order to get back in front of him, has to reach around and grab him.
Brian Barker will be kicking. Has some pressure. Good kick. And here's Glenn Milburn. Takes it at the 25. Has a block at the 30. And he'll be chased out of bounds. So Denver will move on offense now with 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Time remaining in the first quarter. 50 yards on the kick. Back in a moment.
He did what he's been doing a lot of this season. His best year when it comes to things like going the distance. He has gone a long ways with a lot of touchdowns. And he's doing it right now as good as anybody in this conference and probably anybody in this league. He's really come alive for John Elway in this offense. Look at those stats. I mean, Galloway, not very many touchdowns. Anthony Miller now has 12 touchdowns, and he padded that 37.6 with that 62-yarder.
And Denver starts from the 31-yard line, first down. Play action fake in trouble. Dumps it off Shannon Sharp. And Sharp to the 43-yard line. Excuse me, the 37-yard line. in, but Elway was in all kinds of problems.
Well, Kelvin Pritchard, who used to play for the Detroit Lions right here, gets a good rush, but it's one of those, I got him, I got him, I got him. Oh, no, he's got a receiver, and that receiver, we talk about again, that running after the catch. Shannon Sharpe can do that. But the reason he gets the ball is Elway's willing to keep this ball till the very last second. And even finishing a quarterback off like that, like Pritchard did, can get you in trouble now. They're really taking care of these quarterbacks.
2nd down and 4 on the draw. Here's Davis. Met at the line of scrimmage by Brian Schwartz and wrapped up. He'll pick up a yard. We mentioned St. Lawrence, South Dakota. Town population.
Well, 20% of the entire town is here to see Brian Schwartz play. Of course, 20% of the population is related to Brian Schwartz. Population of 200.
200. No stoplights, 1 blinking light, and those that are not here gathered at Mile High Stadium and watching by satellite at his home. And they get an update report from his mom and dad every week. How is he doing?
And that was Brian Schwartz type of linebacker there, just filling and stuffing the run.
3rd down and 2. Here's Davis, and Davis pops free. Across the 50, he is down, and then he can scoot forward for another yard. They're going to say that he was touchdown at the 48-yard line. He converted on 3rd down and 2. 1st down, Denver Broncos. Broncos lead it 7-3.
Watch that blocking. This is just your basic counter type play with Habib pulling from the backside. And Terrell Davis is a fast enough running back, but watch his patience behind the lineman. He's not running full speed. He has the patience to let the blocks develop. And it's interesting that we talk about what a great run defender Schwartz is at middle linebacker. He comes out on 3rd and short, and they gash him inside.
1st down, Jacksonville 48-yard line. Elway to throw on 1st down. Good hit. And that is Schwartz. He was there to nail the intended receiver, Terrell Davis, and he couldn't hold on to it.
This guy needs to play closer to South Dakota more often. He played his college football at Augustana there in South Dakota, and wow. I mean, he hits Terrell Davis many more times like that. He'll make him forget what college he went to.
Timed it perfectly.
Oh, exactly. Absolutely perfectly, just as Davis was turning his head.
2nd down and 10, 48-yard line, Jacksonville. Elway spins, hands off to Davis, and he'll go to the 44-yard line. Gain of 4, it'll be 3rd down and 6, so Elway will be throwing here.
Well, here's a soon-to-be much richer young man in Terrell Davis, and to his credit, he spends very little time. He says, that's my agent's job. But he's making the rookie minimum this year. We talked about the fact, Charlie, he's already gone over 1,000 yards, so he'll be looking for a pretty good check cashing store here pretty quick. I think after the season's over, the Broncos will add a little pad onto his contract with years and money.
Denver, perfect afternoon on 3rd down opportunities. Faking a little handoff, setting back, has a man open, and he hits him. And it's Ed McCaffrey. Big 1st down. That was 3rd down and 6. 24 yards on the play. Denver now 4 for 4 in 3rd down conversions.
And just when you're worrying about the guys like Sharpe and Davis and Miller, he sends McCaffrey over the middle. This is as many weapons, I think, as John Elway has had here in Denver. You can talk about the 3 amigos and whatnot, but he's got the running game. He's got sure-handed receivers, and all his receivers now, for about the first time this year, are healthy.
And he will tell you the key is the running game. Terrell Davis, he said it's really a pleasure to have him behind him. He throws on 1st down, coming back underneath the coverage to the 15-yard line, and it's Anthony Miller.
I tell you what, there are not very many receivers in the league that don't play for the Denver Broncos that catch that ball. Because he tried to throw that through Anthony Miller. And Miller just stopped it with his hands before it went through his chest. Because that guy there, number 7's got a gun.
We're taking the countdown to the end of the 1st quarter. 2nd down and 5, 15-yard line of Jacksonville. Broncos are up by a score of 7-3. And here is Davis inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. It's going to be 1st down and goal to go. Harry Coleman with the tackle for Jacksonville. That will be the 1st quarter. Broncos threaten. They're up 7-3. We'll be back in a moment.
Yeah. Talk about Shannon Sharpe as a receiver. Let's take a look at his blocking ability. You know, Mike Shanahan has motivated this football player to practice despite injuries, to do what he wants him to do, and that is a great effort working against an outside linebacker. And you know, people talk about his offensive skills as a coach, Mike Shanahan, but he's got some pretty good motivational skills as well.
First and goal, 7-yard line. Here is Davis, and he goes down. He'll get a yard to the 6. Second down goal to go. Quick numbers first quarter. Terrell Davis, 8 rushes, 50 yards rushing. Elway completing 6 of 9 for 127 yards. Anthony Miller, 3 receptions, 91 yards, and a touchdown.
Well, that's called a good start. That's about what you expect out of this offense. And when they play at home, remember I talked about them feeding off this crowd. They feed off the crowd to the extent, especially offensively, they can make up and be a great deodorant for a pretty bad defense.
Second down and 6. Elway, 3-step drop, steps away, buys time. Ladder back edge, yes. Shannon Sharpe, back edge of the end zone. He had to wait. He's posing for Muscle Magazine.
You know why he does that, Charlie? Because he can. This is a physical specimen, a tight end who's not really a tight end, a little undersized, and here's a tight end making a wide receiver toe touch, point him and get him down catch.
And Elway is now throwing for his 2nd touchdown of the ball game and his 20th of the year. Jason Elam to attempt the point after. A bit of a high snap. Pulled down by Tom Ruin, the holder, as we take one more look.
And Shannon Sharpe, I'm sure, says, gee, Ma, nothing to it.
14-3 Denver. The ball game going down here.
That looks like fun, and only in Denver in December can you either go golfing or do that. It's been gorgeous.
Desmond Howard pulls it in at the 9. He's out to the 20, slips as he makes his cut. He's down to the 24-yard line, and Clifford Hicks was there to cover him. Steve Berline, we had an interesting visit with him.
Yeah, we really did. You know, Berline realized the situation. Tom Coughlin went out of his way the night before the draft to trade for Mark Brunell from Green Bay. You know, they thought he was going to Philly. They got him to Jacksonville. And Berline realizes this end of the year, as he's playing for the injured Mark Brunell, is really just sort of another audition, another job audition for him. You know, Tom Coughlin, I'm sure, would love to have the experience, but with his $2 million or so salary, they cannot afford that kind of a backup here in Jacksonville.
Jacksonville trailing 14-3. And we go to work. We'll play action fake, buy some time. Now being chased out of the pocket, and he's going to scramble forward to the 25. So he will pick up a yard on the play. That is maybe the good news. The really good news is that he eluded Michael Dean Barrett.
Well, you know, the 2 quarterbacks for Jacksonville, when you talk about their running, the words that come to mind both start and ends with T. And that is Mark Brunell is a threat. Steve Berline is a target. And that's very surprising. He got away from Michael Dean right there, who got that great penetration we've been talking about.
Second down and 9. Berline hands off on the draw. Nothing is there.
Guess who? Michael Dean Perry in the backfield. Charlie.
Wrapping up Von Dunbar.
Want to see a little penetration? Michael Dean lining up on the nose, does the arm over swim past Dave Waddell, the center, and he totally disrupted that one. I mean, he not only hit Waddell, the center, he got the left guard, he got the fullback, he got the only thing he didn't get was a quarterback there, and not bad for a 5-time Pro Bowler who suffered with the flu the better part of the week.
Berline now from the shotgun, 4 wide receivers. 3rd and 12. 4-man rush by Denver. Pass is complete. Slipping a tackle is Cedric Tillman, but he was come up shy of the first down. They gave him the deep coverage, let him throw underneath. It'll be 4th down. They'll have to kick it away. Britt Hagan with the tackle for Denver.
Another guy in on that tackle, Charlie, was Steve Atwater. And I know, I'm sure, if you come into this stadium as a wide receiver, as soon as you break that first tackle, you got to be looking for number 27, because you know Atwater's not too far away.
So Brian Barker will be kicking. Glenn Milburn is the return man. High snap, pulled down. Nice recovery. Good kick. Fielded at the 20. Flag is down. He's got 4 yards on the return and then nailed. Flag dropped back at the 35-yard line.
That's right in the area of illegal man downfield, Charlie.
Rich Griffith made the tackle. 49 yards on the kick, and you're right on the call.
I would definitely make Brian Barker try to nail another one of those. He hit a howitzer.
We have 11 minutes and 58 seconds. That is the time remaining in the first half.
Ineligible man downfield on the kicking team, number 23. That's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
There is an open house at Jacksonville Stadium. It's Fan Appreciation Day. We want to say hello to everybody and a big wave. And they were expecting like around 10,000 people there. And the report is that they were backed up for 2 miles. So it's almost a sellout, even though that it's free. I mean, do you call it it's a free out? And we'll check in to report around the country exactly how many people showed up to celebrate Fan Appreciation Day in Jacksonville. That's great.
It's refreshing, too, to hear a story about excitement in full stadiums and people that are really nuts about their franchise.
Brian Barker, this time a good snap. And he gets another good one away. And Milburn backs up, and he takes it to the 24. Jumping down the sideline, pretty good return. There's Jacksonville, if you were with us from the beginning, worried about him as a return man. That's the reason on kickoff they have been kicking short. We'll be back in a moment. 14-3 Denver.
The Acura SLX, the most civilized way to leave civilization. By McDonald's, have you had your break today? By the Citizen Watch Company. Citizen is how the world tells time. And by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
This is Charlie Jones, Randy Cross, Mile High Stadium, Denver up 14-3, and they start from the 38-yard line. Deep drop by Elway. He fires, and it is picked up. Interception by James Williams. That is his 2nd interception on the year, and in reality, Elway threw it right at it.
Oh, he threw it right in his face. There was nothing Williams could do but catch this ball or get knocked out by one of Elway's bullets. There's got to be a miscommunication. Quarterbacks like Elway don't make these kind of mistakes very often. At least acted like he almost never even saw him. He's trying to get that ball to Anthony Miller, and a big turnover for Tom Coughlin's defense that really until last week had not had many interceptions at all. They had 3 last week against Blake, and they get 1 against Elway right now.
That is only their 10th total on the year. 46-yard line, Denver, first down. Dunbar trying to squeeze through a bit of an opening on the far left side. Alan Aldridge was there to close it down. He's going to pick up a couple of yards on the play. They'll mark it at the 44-yard line. 2nd down and 8.
You know, Charlie, you talk about that quickness and penetration of the tackles of Jones and Perry on that defense for Denver. And when you attack this Denver defense, you are better off attacking them quickly. You're either going to get a big play or you're going to get a 0-yarder. But if you try to stretch things out and really prolong it out to the sidelines, you're going to get nothing.
Steve Berline, the quarterback. The throw on 2nd and 8. And the receiver is stripped by Lionel Washington. Good defensive play. Jimmy Smith, the intended receiver.
2 great plays. Watch Michael Dean Perry beat right here. He gets right into the face of Steve Berline. Berline ignores it, but Washington strips the ball out with that right hand. Watch him right here. Working against Novak, 67, in at right guard. I mean, you want to talk about quick and penetration. I mean, that is the kind of thing where a quarterback needs a 1.5-step drop, not a 3-step drop.
3rd down and 8. You saw San Diego leading Cleveland. A look at the total yards. Denver 181 to Jacksonville's 92. Where's San Diego also in that wild card picture, going deep and overthrow. Jimmy Smith, the intended receiver. It'll be 4th down. Lionel Washington had the coverage.
Now, we talked about you got to stop Michael Dean up front, and they are getting pressure in Steve Berline's face. In fact, Ben Coleman started the game at right guard. Now, we just saw Novak's getting his turn in the bucket here to try to get Michael Dean. So they've got to start double teaming and securing the inside of that defensive line, or Michael Dean will live in his face.
So Jacksonville cannot capitalize on the interception. Little pooch kick wobbly, but at the 13-yard line. Back in a moment. Stay tuned to NBC tonight. A special called Extremely Weird. Stars 2 Sportscast. No, it doesn't. That's followed by the must-see comedy hit Mad About You, Hope and Gloria, plus the world premiere movie event Shadow of a Doubt, starring Brian Dennehy. That's all here on NBC. Starting off tonight with Extremely Weird.
The Brian Cox story. You've been following that Dolphins story. You know that's probably true. I love Brian Dennehy.
Isn't he a great actor?
Yep.
And he's busy. He really works a lot. Elway went to this time, though. He just hands off to Terrell Davis. Has a couple of yards to the 15-yard line. Second down and 8. We have a couple of notes for you here. Oakland leading Kansas City now by a score of 10-6 with a field goal, and Bono, bruised right hand, questionable to return. Gannon is now the quarterback. Bono's having a great year.
Yeah,
had the opportunity.
Yeah, he got his shot. Something we talked about earlier that I really don't think Steve Berline has had.
Second down. Elway to throw. Looks right, looks left, comes back right. Pass is complete. He goes to Aaron Craver, his fullback, and they carve out a first down, 29-yard line.
You want to talk about a quarterback that's really got a mastery of an offense. Watch John Elway's head and his shoulders and his checkoff process. First, second, third, fourth. I'll give it to him. This guy never seems to be running out of people, and it's the biggest difference that Anthony Miller says in this offense right now with John Elway. Elway's got the faith that he'll always have a receiver facing him to throw the ball to, no matter how long he holds it.
First down, 29-yard line. On to set up a screen. It is not there. He goes to the far side, and that is Craver. What is it so important to have the receiver facing Elway?
Well, because generally it's mainly defenders facing Elway when he gets in those situations. When you're running and when you're moving, a quarterback looks for a friendly color. And when those receivers are always moving with and towards the quarterback, their bodies are facing the quarterback. And it's a much easier target to hit than that side square part of a body.
Elway again having an excellent afternoon. Now he faces second down and 11 at his own 28-yard line. Denver up by a score of 14-3. Just under 9 minutes left in the first half. A little touch pass underneath. Craver slips another tackle. He's been looking pretty good, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really is. And what John Elway and this offense are doing right now is, you watch a lot of boxing, Charlie. We all do. I mean, this is a classic case of going to the jabs. And Gary Kubiak there, the offensive coordinator, and Mike Shanahan, the head coach, are putting the jabs in the face and the little left hooks down into the stomach. And they do that for one reason and one reason alone, because they want to go for the big shot. They want to get that knockout punch with an Anthony Miller or Shannon Sharp down the field.
Is this part of that cliche they always tell us we will take what the defense gives us?
Well, they'll take what they give them, and then they're going to take what they want.
Jacksonville, a three-man set on the rush. Were they short a man? They called a timeout. They burn one with 8:10 left in the half. Welcome back to Mile High Stadium. Jacksonville now blitzing defensively on almost every play. Why are they doing this?
Because they have to. They're about the non-sackinest groups of defensive players you've seen in a while here in the NFL. They've got to blitz John Elway, and that's dangerous. I mean, you're either going to get to John Elway. On the last play, Shannon Sharp was wide open down the middle.
You're playing into Elway's game plan there. And here is Davis.
Nope.
It'll be close to the first down. Let's see where he gets the mark.
I don't think he got it, Charlie. And remember what we were told yesterday by Greg Oganius. We want to stop the run. We want to make John Elway beat us if we can. Now that's
isn't that a tough statement, though?
Well, they're not stopping the run that well until that play right there. They're blitzing to get John Elway, and he will beat you if you blitz him.
But what they're also saying is that if Elway has both the rush and the pass, then there's no way to stop him. But if you can take one away, force him to beat you with the other. And you can't take Elway's throwing away, so you try and stop the run.
Exactly. Gogenius makes a very good point. That's everybody's goal when you play the Denver Broncos and John Elway, is to make him get into those passing situations. And you see that's just a little bit short. I think against an expansion team with your offense going the way it is right now, you bring in an extra tight end and you jam that ball in there. Remember how big and physical John Elway is.
Yes.
Watch what happens over the center position and how they line up. If they give John Elway a bubble over the center or a bubble over either guard, he'll sneak right into it.
And the bubble is to Elway's right. And they may try and close it down. This time he tries the left, and he does. He's got it. They closed down that little opening that you saw with the linebacker stepping up and in. So he comes to the other side. And he goes to 41 first down.
Well, the trials and tribulations of an expansion coach. You saw Tom Coughlin's reaction, and here he just goes behind his left side. You saw the linebacker Schwartz move into the bubble on the other side, and when he sees Schwartz and Williams close up things on the right, he just goes left. Just a case of good helmet in the ear hole of a defender blocking by the offensive line. They turn their bodies, they can't penetrate.
Elway, 6'3", 215 pounds, very strong, very thick-chested. And here's a sweep to the right side. It's Mike Pritchard. Pritchard turns the corner. And then he's caught a fistful of jersey by the defender, Joel Smingy. Smingy.
Well, Smingy's playing outside linebacker now. That's the position he started with at New Orleans. And here at Jacksonville, he's become more of kind of what you would call like the elephant linebacker, elephant defensive end. And here's an elephant getting one little elephant-sized toenail into the jersey. Dragging him down on that tackle. But yeah, he's an elephant position guy. You know, he's 6'6", 250, kind of a Haley-ish, without Haley speed.
Elephant.
That's a non-wordism.
Faking, buying time, throwing, man open, misses it. Oh, John with pretty good fakes, hiding the ball behind him, and all the time in the world. And he misses Craver.
I'll be honest, Charlie, I don't even know if Aaron Craver knew where that ball was when Elway threw it to him. He was looking right back into the sun. Did you see him come out of the shadows, back into the sun? Watch Elway. Wonderful play fake, hides the ball on his hip. And when he throws this pass, it's into the sun. You see Craver kind of like stop up at the last minute. He wasn't stopping because of possible contact. He was stopping because he had no idea where that ball was.
4 wide receivers. Shadows are brutal here. Shannon Sharp with motion, looking right. Throws, tipped, diving catch. Does he have it?
No.
They're going to say, they may say yes he does, and is down.
No, we've got
the ground caused the fumble.
No, we've got a quick incompletion from the one official.
Okay. All right.
Watch the ball. This is a classic defensive tip drill. Ball put in the air by the front receiver and defender. Davis diving in to get it. Does he get his hands underneath it? Nope. Clearly bounces off the ground. Good call.
So it is 4th down. Jacksonville holds. Tom Ruin to kick. Desmond Howard is the return man. Oh, this is a beauty. And it turns over. Fair catch, taken at 11-yard line. Oh, an excellent kick. 5 minutes, 59 seconds. That is the time remaining in the first half. Denver is up by a score of 14-3. 41 yards on that kick, no return.
You know, Charlie, I talked earlier as you watch Kevin Gilbride, the coordinator, talk to his quarterback Steve Berline there about Berline never really getting a shot. You know, he did have the 1 year in Arizona. I believe it was like 1990 or so when he first got to Arizona. 91, I think. He had a great year. 3,200 yards, 18 touchdowns, 19 touchdowns. Started to look like he was going to have something very special. And then something very, very bad for his career happened in Phoenix. Buddy Ryan showed up.
Berline to throw, far side, flag is down, pass is complete to Ernest Givens. Flag drop back at the 4-yard line, also one at the 9, and usually that's offensive holding.
Yeah, this is a professional wrestling full-on grab takedown by Brian DeMarco.
They'll split the distance, take it back to just inside the 6.
Number 73 on the offense. To half the distance to the goal. Repeat, first down.
Now DeMarco left side of the screen, 73, working against Hasselbeck. Hasselbeck gets a quick smooth, wham, just a pull down. Look at Berline's reaction. Oh, come on.
First and 15. And the crowd getting into it here. Another sellout crowd. Off the left side is a rookie from Tennessee, James Stewart. Then Kadrez with the tackle. Stewart's had 3 pretty good games in a row.
He's finally starting to play like the second first-round draft pick that they projected him for. Last year played for the Tennessee Volunteers. He's got the most rushes, and he's finally starting to run with an aggressive type of a body motion. And he's ignoring the little dinks and dings. You know, it took him a while, but like Tom Coughlin says, he figured out after the first few games, first few weeks, that this is not the Southeastern Conference. This is not college. You play hurt, you play hard.
Second down and 9. Good protection. Now flushed out, hit, fumble. Broncos have the ball. Hasselbeck recovers.
Not only does Berline fumble the ball, get sacked, he's got a little turf collection on the side of his head to go for his efforts, and that play came as a result of good coverage downfield and good persistence by Simon Fletcher, working against the #1 pick, Tony Baselli. He just blurs him real quick. Baselli can't stop him. Stewart can't stop him, and Fletcher strips the ball. You can't prepare for that. I mean, if you're a quarterback, you know in no way can be blamed for that kind of a fumble. That fumble goes to Baselli and Stewart for missing Fletcher.
First down, goal to go. Davis right side, 5-yard line. It'll be second down and goal to go. 4:39 and counting. Time remaining second quarter. Broncos up 14-3, and Shannon Sharp is the injured player.
Well, remember the ankles of Shannon Sharp. Had the surgeries in the offseason. He's had a real big problem. Tore that helmet off real quick. Let's see what happens. See him pointing to his head. Must have taken a headshot. Watch Sharp. 84. Well, he's holding for one thing. And as everything comes around right there, he just comes down to the ground. Look at him holding his head. Yeah, it must have been a knee or a helmet came in there and caught him in the side of the head.
And remember what he told us a couple of weeks ago? I'm healthy, and when I'm healthy, I'm dangerous.
Well, he's been plenty dangerous today.
Yes.
Actually seeing him get a very nice block for Terrell Davis on a couple of runs. Very undersized for a tight end. You know, 230 pounds, 235 pounds, but he presents a whole different kind of attraction for defensive backs. A real dilemma for coordinators.
Program note, next Saturday, NBC Sports presents more exciting NFL action. We'll be there starting at 12 noon. Special time, NFL on NBC. Oh, that's extremely weird. Mad About You, that is tonight. NBC Sunday Night Movie, Shadow of a Doubt, so we have a double program note for you. That one followed by what is going to happen next Saturday. The ball game, Warren Moon and the NFL's leading receiver, and it is not Ryan Dennehy. Chris Carter, they'll lead the Vikings against Vinny Testaverde, Andre Rison, and the Cleveland Browns, who are losing this afternoon to San Diego. Special Saturday edition of the NFL on NBC starting at 12 noon Eastern time right here, and Randy and I will be there. So join us next Saturday.
Boy, have the wheels come off that little orange wagon in Cleveland as a football team. You can make all the excuses.
As soon as the announcement was made.
I don't buy that. That defense hasn't played worth a darn all year long.
But from a timing standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
The wheels fell off when the announcement was made. Here's pressure. Hits his hot receiver. And it's Jerry Evans. Evans, his first touchdown of the year.
Well, you watch Shannon Sharp leave the field. If you're Dick Duran, the defensive coordinator for Jacksonville, you're thinking they must be going to a different one. But on the right side of your screen, 88 Evans blocks down. They bite on the play action. And one thing they definitely don't bite on is Jerry Evans' presence, because there's nobody without a camera and a long extended lens anywhere near Evans.
Denver capitalizes on the fumble recovery by Hasselbeck. They cash in for 6. Elam will try to make it 7, and he does. And the Broncos move up by a score of 21-3 with 4:19 left, first down. Four-yard line, Desmond Howard. Howard to the 15, has an opening at the 20. Nice move, moves to the outside, and then he is taken out of bounds by Clifford Hill. Pretty good return. The Jaguars have not had much of an offense working for them this afternoon. They need to get something going.
Well, really what they did early in the game when they did move the ball against Denver, they were successful with the quick type passing game. Berline was standing back there after a 3 to 5 step drop, delivering the ball quickly to his receivers. He's held the ball a little bit longer, and to be honest, DeMarco and Baselli, the two rookie tackles, have not been effective at all in stopping Hasselbeck and Fletcher.
So Jacksonville starts from their own 28-yard line. They trail 21-3. They come out throwing. Over the middle, on target. No. Incomplete. In and out of the arms of the intended receiver.
Oh,
Ernest Gibbons. Ooh.
Berline took a shot to the legs from Shane Dronette, I think. Watch. Number 99 coming working against DeMarco. Quick pull move. Down low. Ow. That is an AstroTurf end of a season right there. On grass, the feet come out. But he is still feeling that shot he took from Dronette.
Second down and 10. And he was on target to Gibbons. And Rob Johnson, the rookie from USC, quickly loosening up. He has not as yet made an appearance this year. Here's a sweep right side. It is Dunbar. And the Broncos defense continues to shut down the offense of the Jaguars. This time it was Alan Aldridge.
You know, Coughlin talked about Johnson, the young quarterback out of USC, how, you know, a guy can look like an all-star working against their own defense and in camp when he's doing the plays off the cards from the opponent's offense. But now it's for real. Now he's got to prepare and be ready to play. And if Steve Berline can't shake off this shot he took to his leg, we're going to see the young quarterback.
The pressure is entirely different from running the scout team to running the varsity.
Yeah, there's not 76,000 people watching you at practice.
That's right. Third down and 9. It is caught. A great pass, an excellent reception, and a flag. Desmond Howard going high in the air. Broncos had 2 defenders.
It's going to be a little illegal contact downfield, I think, Charlie. That came from deep center field.
Pass interference against the Broncos. So Jacksonville, one way or the other, will convert on third down.
Illegal contact. Number 54 on the defense. The penalty is declined. First down.
Talk about some concentration. Watch Desmond Howard go up after this ball and watch the arms and everything that's in front of him. I mean, this is really concentrating on the point of the ball and making it yours. Because, I mean, Lionel Washington had a better shot at catching that than Desmond did.
Desmond with only 18 receptions on the year coming into this ball game. First down. And we'll have whistles and flags.
Michael Dean Perry working in that gap between the right guard and center. Got a little early start. I think he was lined up offsides to start with.
Encroachment. Number 95 on the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It'll be 1st and 5 at the 40.
Well, I can, you know, Charlie, that is a challenge. Look at Michael Dean. He is right on the ball. He is not offsides, but if he sneezes, he's offsides.
Shannon Sharp poked in the eye, return questionable. 50-yard line. First down. Excellent defensive penetration. This time the other tackle, James Jones. He brings down James Stewart.
Well, I tell you, we talked about one of the keys of this game being the offensive line for Jacksonville coming together and making an impression against this Denver defense. Right now, as a unit, they are taking turns being beaten quick off the ball. Whether it's Jones, Dronette, Perry, or Fletcher, they have all they can handle right now.
And the countdown to the 2-minute warning in the first half with Denver up by a score of 21-3. We'll be back in just a moment. Mile High Stadium. Well, they are not stopping it yet. The officials not seeing it, and now finally one of them catches the clock, points to it. Steve Berline said, "What took you so long?" Back in a moment. Back in that game for Kansas City, and they now lead Oakland 12-10. Here it is Denver 21 and Jacksonville 3.
Watch for Fletcher against DeMarco.
Here's a blitz. Berline's in trouble. He throws this one away. He was in big trouble. Dave Wyman with the blitz was chasing him.
You know what this was right here? This is one of those blitz zone looks. Watch Fletcher 73. He backs off. He runs off with a tight end, Griffith, and they still bring the inside lineman. They bring a backside linebacker. I mean, Wyman's coming from the inside. Fletcher's dropping as a defensive end on the outside. And Berline and this offense, especially this offensive line, has got a bit of a case of the Huns working, Charlie, because they're a little confused.
3rd down and 7. Four-man rush, middle screen. Pass is complete to Lachey Maston, but he is stopped at the 50-yard line. Just for a note, for Lachey Maston, that is his 11th reception of the year. That goes with 25 rushes. And in his career prior to this season, he had 1 rush and 3 receptions, started as a linebacker in Houston.
Well, he's very lucky he caught that one on that middle screen from Berline. Because I tell you what, Michael Dean Perry used to say a 4-man rush. It's really kind of a 3-man and a spy, because that was thrown right at the spy, Michael Dean.
Be sure to stay with us. Domino's halftime report. Greg Gumbel, Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs, scores and highlights. Everything that's going on today in the National Football League. They'll also talk about the condition of Steve Bono, and they'll also bring you up to date on the situation as far as the wild card is concerned, because good plans. There's what, about 6 or 7 teams all right in the middle of it.
Well, I can't handle a wild card scenario right now. I don't even want to look at the wild card scenario until it's like game 15, because otherwise.
No, game 15. You'll tell me. Let's wait till next week.
You need a bottle. You need a tall glass of water and a bottle of pain reliever pills when you start talking about that, because you will have a throbbing migraine by the time you figure it out or think you've got it figured out.
Milburn is the return man. Fair catch, and he takes it at the 16-yard line. So Denver will go to work with 1.5 minutes. This is what we call Elway time.
Oh, exactly. You know, Broncos are in the playoff chase, and I just talked about, you know, the wild card scenario. The wild card scenario is really very, very simple. People overcomplicate this, you know, tiebreaker, and you do this and you do that. If you're a team involved in the wild card at this point, you're the Denver Broncos. You're 6-6. Win your next 4 games. Beat Jacksonville, beat Seattle, have 2 wins on the road against Kansas City and Oakland, and you're in the playoffs. Easy.
Well stated.
Easy to figure that one out.
But if you don't, then it gets complicated.
You got a long vacation.
Here's a handoff inside to Aaron Craver, and he is going to be dropped for a loss at the 11-yard line. Kelvin Pritchett was there to make the tackle.
Well, Pritchard and Bronzell Miller, defensive end, just signed this year. We're all over the backfield. I mean, like they were taking their vacation. A little camp out.
2nd down, 15. Elway in the shotgun. 4-man rush over the middle, has a man, hits him. Ed McCaffrey. Keith Gogenius with the tackle. Clock moving. 56 and counting.
Hey, anytime you watch John Elway doing this offense for Mike Shanahan, you got to be suspicious when you see these little passes and the little dinks. I mean, and I'm sure Tom Coughlin is telling Dick Geron, the defensive coordinator for Jacksonville, nothing big. Back up, play 2 deep zone, get the safeties deep, get the corners deep, and don't let anybody behind you.
3rd down and 9. Elway comes back underneath the coverage. Pass is complete. 24-yard line. Craver pulling it in. Gogenius again with the tackle. Clock is stopped.
Jacksonville called that timeout.
It'll be 4th down, and so Denver will be kicking, and Jacksonville will have one more opportunity, including the punt return.
Well, you know, it's an opportunity for Tom Coughlin's punt return team to get in there and get a return with Desmond Howard, but it's kind of a good news, bad news situation, I think, for Steve Berline, the way the end of this first half has gone. The good news is for Berline, he and the offense are going to get the ball back. The bad news for Berline and the offense, if they call a pass, the way things have gone, Steve is going to get a chance to get smacked again at the quarterback position. Talking there to the Johnson, the rookie out of USC on one side of him, and Mark Brunell, the regular starter with the pulled hamstring with the hat wearing number 8.
Tom Rowan will be kicking it away. He has a 43.4-yard average. And Desmond Howard is the return man. Jacksonville showing a 10-man rush. 8 of them come in a block. If it's recovered in the end zone, touchdown, Jacksonville. Jimmy Smith scores the touchdown, and we'll look at the replay to see who made the block.
Is that amazing?
Whoa.
What a mental breakdown and collapse on the part of the Denver punting team, and excellent execution by the Jacksonville punt block team. Little high snap. That shouldn't throw it off that much. But that ball is just absolutely smothered right there. I mean, he is all over that ball. Mike Dumas just gets it in about mid-forearm. And Smith smartly kind of tiptoes and doesn't go out the back of the end zone with the ball.
What a turn of events. And here's the extra point. They are celebrating in Jacksonville Stadium. It is good. And suddenly it's Denver 21 and Jacksonville 10, still with 8 seconds left as the boos start to rain down on the Broncos.
And I think these Denver fans here at Mile High Stadium sort of perceive what they've just watched, and I think they're absolutely correct. They've watched a Denver Bronco up and down football team take a play lightly, take a play off, and Tom Coughlin's punt block team and Mike Dumas make him pay for the digression, you may say, the taking the time off. Watch the bite on this. See where the ball bit? Had that backspin working. Oh yeah, it's high fives all along that sideline for anybody associated with these Jaguars. Larry Pasquale, the special teams coach there, can, you know, everybody's a genius when you do something like that. You know, it's amazing. Those special teams coach can look really good or really bad on special teams, because the same guy that says let's block it and he gets it is the guy that, let's say on fourth and 10, let's go ahead and fake it. I think we can get it. You know, the quarterback, the head coach is a genius if the play works, and the special teams coach is the guy everybody points at if it doesn't.
Successful play has many fathers, right?
That's exactly.
The unsuccessful play is an orphan.
Confucius, very nice.
I like that. I've been saving that, but not for long. All right, kick it short.
It had dust on it. I don't know how long you've been saving it.
For a long time, and here's the return. As Rod Smith scoots out of bounds with 3 seconds left in the first half, and time for a John Elway Hail Mary.
You think the crowd booed a little bit before?
Ooh,
if they come out and kneel on the ball formation here, it won't be cheers ringing in their ears as they leave the field here at the half. I mean, that's the prudent thing. That's the conservative thing. That's about what you'd expect out of Mike Shanahan. That's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah. And so it will not be a Hail Mary. It will be kneel and pray.
And duck if you're going into that locker room above all those fans.
So the turn of events at the end of the first half. Denver leads 21-10. We'll go back to New York. Gentlemen, stadium as we get set to start the second half. Denver leading comfortably 21-3. Now not quite as comfortable. It had to be an interesting halftime. 21-10.
But that block is a big deal for them. But Denver offensively has played very well. Defensively, not bad. We highlighted John Elway. He's played well. Terrell Davis, Michael Dean Perry. The offensive line of the Jaguars has got to come to the table for the Jaguars to be in this game in the second half, because the front seven is just dominating the offensive line for Jacksonville.
And Jacksonville will have the opportunity to start the second half on offense. Desmond Howard on the return, and he is nailed right at the 30-yard line. So now let's check out the Coors Light halftime stats.
The time of possession doesn't really tell you much there, but I think really where the telling part is the John Elway number. There's 2 John Elway numbers. One's passing yards, one's total yards, and if there's a third John Elway number, it's 21 points at the half.
And a Denver player is shaken up on the return play. And so we'll go back and take, I would believe that's Ray Crockett, the cornerback.
Watch Desmond Howard. He follows Smith. He follows his wedge. See the wedge holding hands there, as only wedges can. And I think Crockett gets a little bit from both sides. Gets a little from the contact with Howard, then he catches a little bit of a shot in the side of the head later.
The injury update on Shannon Sharp, that poke in the eye, he will not return in the second half. And you have the feeling that it was either the second or the third player that came by that caused the injury.
Well, that's the one thing about playing special teams, especially on kickoff coverage. The people that are the best at kickoff coverage are the people that really don't care about their bodies, that give it up, that run down there, that go absolutely nuts. And it's really what, having been in a wedge before in a kickoff return team, you hate, because you know they don't care about their body. And if they don't care about their body, how much do they really care about yours? And that goes through your mind when you're going through there. You're looking at these guys, these maniacs, whether it's Philippi Sparks when he first started, or, Bill Bates when, he's always
Bauer
doing
with the
Bauer
Chargers.
with the Chargers.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, you look for them, and you make sure they're not down around your legs because they can get you.
Then I must ask, if you cared about your body, what in the world were you doing on a special team?
I lasted 13 years because I took care of my body.
All right.
I found out where all those little guys were.
Now, as we start the second half, Jacksonville will start from their 30-yard line. In the third quarter this afternoon, we're going to take you even further inside of this game with more of a third quarter conversation. So our graphic department is going to get to work, and they'll be updating the downs and distance. And Randy will be telling us why everything is happening as we will explore the third quarter of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Denver Broncos as the Jaguars start from the 30. And they come out throwing, and they throw to a running back. And they've been able to go deep against the coverage that the Broncos defense has shown.
We talked about that early, Charlie, about it. The wide receivers. The wide receivers for Berline in this offense are not capable of making the great big play. They get no respect from the Denver defensive backs. You'll watch, we've seen an awful lot of Steve Atwater up near the ball, the corners, whether it's Crockett or whoever in there jamming, Lionel Washington jamming the receivers and not having the respect for them down the field.
Denver now with the two deep secondary, and they are both deep. And so there's some running room up front.
Well, Brian DeMarco, the big rookie right tackle from Michigan State, everybody talked about how big Baselli is. This guy is 6'7", 321 pounds. And look at him, he's about to get a little James Stewart out of Tennessee motivator through his back there if he doesn't get out of the way.
Now, you were an offensive lineman. How tough is the first year for an offensive lineman?
It's a nightmare.
Why?
You don't know anything. If you go into a season thinking you know anything about offensive football and technique and the game itself, you're being ignorant, because you get shown very, very early in your career how long you have to go as far as technique goes. And there's a guy there, Charlie, that's got some serious technique. Michael Dean Perry, again from the backside. Remember we talked about the penetration, the flow. Watch the blocking flow start away from Michael Dean. He does an arm over, and by his third step, he's 3 yards deep into the backfield. And Dunbar has absolutely no chance to see a hole. All he sees is the jersey with a number 95 on.
Now, Jacksonville has tried to stay away from Ben Milburn, the return man, particularly their first two kickoffs when they kicked short. Now, and obviously a punting situation you can.
That's a return ball, low liner.
And he can't quite get to the corner.
Hello, nurse.
Dwayne Carswell with a block. 50-yard kick.
That was a heck of a hit on Santos Stevens.
Where am I? We're back.
Luxury automobiles, the result of a relentless pursuit of perfection. By Compact Computer Corporation. By Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. And by the Norelco Razor, for our closest shave ever.
Denver's first opportunity in offense in the second half. You expect them to start out establishing the run again.
Come out with a little bit different look as far as not featuring Terrell Davis. That first half, they came out and just slammed the ball with Davis. And remember, he had that big fumble earlier, and Aaron Craver there carried the ball. I tell you what, that's Santos Stevens.
Ooh,
You saw that wonderful shot we had of the Rockies and all the snow. That's a little bit of what Santos Stevens saw right after he got hit, was a lot of snow.
Where are we? Second long. Still on the ground. The crowd doesn't like it. Why doesn't Elway come out throwing?
Well, the problem is, and what the crowd really doesn't like, is the basic conservative nature of what they're seeing from their offense. You know, Gary Kubiak right there, the coordinator, and Mike Shanahan are showing a lot of run, a lot of short dink and dunk passes. Remember, this is the same defense in Jacksonville last week. Ran a lot of two deep zone. That's Dick Duran, the defensive coordinator for Jacksonville, and they ran a lot of two deep. And in two deep, it really makes you play the ball in front of the defensive backs. It makes you go for the little bites of yardage and be patient.
Elway goes deep with 3 wide receivers and is knocked away. Dave Thomas, the cornerback, good recovery.
And you talk about, I was just mentioning that two deep coverage. Watch the safeties in the top of the screen. They both move out to the outside, looking towards the corner to help and towards the corner. And there's one of the corners, Thomas, coming inside to see him get kicked right in the side of the head by Davis, 45, at the end of the play.
So with the injury timeout, we now have 11 minutes and 29 seconds. That is the time remaining. We're in the third quarter. Denver is up 21-10. It'll be 4th down, and Denver will be kicking.
You will see, I would imagine, a much more intense and alert Denver Broncos punting team here on 4th down than you saw at the end of the first half,
Good
where
point.
they sort of took that one play off, got it blocked for the touchdown. I mean, Tom Ruin there never really had any kind of a shot. They were all over him.
Well, now, is this a situation where Jacksonville would come back again, the same thing? And rushing, in reality, they rushed 8 men.
It's not a bad idea. You know, it's the old defensive and offensive philosophy of, hey, they haven't proven they can stop this yet. Do it again. See if you can. And you saw it real briefly there. Thomas started to make a turn like he was going to go run over and sit on the Broncos bench. It's a sure sign you've been kicked in the head.
No, they're doubling the wideouts, which they didn't before when they were rushing everybody up the
Only
middle.
a 6-man rush. This is a return set up pure and simple.
They only rushed 3. Major return. Couldn't get to the far side. It was a left return. Simply couldn't get there. Rondell Jones makes the tackle. We'll step aside. 46 yards on the kick. Back in a moment. This is Charlie Jones, Randy Cross. We continue our third quarter conversation. Jacksonville told us they had to stop Michael Dean Perry. See what they're doing against him.
One thing they're not doing is double teaming, and that's Perry. Just does get it off to James Stewart.
Stewart's pretty good in the open field. They had their shot. Why are they not doubling Perry?
I don't know why they're not doubling him, Charlie. I mean, in this situation, he is absolutely ripping up through the ball.
Number 95.
That's him right there. Perry working on Waddell, the former Bronco. I mean, that's just luck right there. Michael Dean Perry is going to pull a quarterback down 9 times out of 10 with that kind of penetration, that kind of a grip on a quarterback.
And then James Stewart adds to the end of the reception and picks up the first down to the 50. Sweet coming to the near side with Dunbar. Crockett with the tackle.
And you can tell you got a little bit of a bounce right now after that one play. You know, Steve Berline avoids Michael Dean, gets that big gain, and now Dunbar gets the run out there. They gain 3 or 4. That's a successful running play for this offense, and it sets Berline up in a situation, Charlie, where he can be a little bit more creative. What he can't do is go downfield because he doesn't have the receivers. We've talked about that, but we haven't seen the tight end position used at all today.
If he makes a big play, though, or they continue the drive, they can get back right in the middle of the ballgame. Still a very conservative play calling, and you're down by a score of 21-10, and you have an offense that in reality has not generated a lot of yardage.
Well, what they're doing is they're doing we talked earlier about, taking what the defense gives you. I think when you're an expansion team and you're young like the Jacksonville Jaguars, you're doing what you can do. So much what they give you doesn't always come into play for Kevin Gilbride and his offense, in that he has a list of plays there in his hand. He has a list of plays that he knows they can run well. He's got to call those plays. He can't get too creative.
You saw on the ticker, Carolina expansion team winning. They're in the middle of the wild card playoff.
There's one of the tight ends. That's Pete Mitchell, the rookie out of Boston College.
It was tipped by James Jones. Mitchell's been a hot receiver the last couple of ball games with 15 receptions.
He really has. He had 10 for 161 yards 2 weeks ago against Tampa Bay, and that really saves a big play right there. That should have been a big play. Pete Mitchell trying to get up there and couldn't quite get the ball that was tipped.
What did Tom Coughlin say about Pete Mitchell? Had him in college?
Had him in college at Boston College, where he was a big play guy. And here on 4th down, Coughlin's taking a big risk. You still got to look towards the tight end position, I think, as a key, either with a big block or a quick pass.
Mitchell, tight end, has it. And he found a hole about 20 yards downfield.
Tom Coughlin earlier this year, Charlie, got in a situation against Tampa Bay, goes 17-16, can kick an extra point and go into overtime. No, he goes for 2. He takes a chance. He knows his offense needs a spark. What's he do here on 4th and short? With his offense moving a little, he shows confidence in his guys. He builds some confidence in this young offense. I mean, we talk about the offensive line not doing well today, but this team is being built from the front back.
And right now being carried by Pete Mitchell. Here's the draw. We're seeing more of James Stewart this afternoon than I thought that we would. But again, he's part of that building process as a rookie.
Well, he really is. He's a good-sized guy, 6'1", about 220 pounds. And what he needs to do is learn how to be a churning runner, like he was right there. You saw those knees just kept going, and he broke a couple of tackles, and he was running tough and running hard. Not always something that a guy coming out of college sometimes in a high-powered offense like he was in Tennessee never really had to be tough. He could be smooth, he could be sharp, he could be a pretty runner, never really have to worry about being cute.
And he's the remaining back here, James Stewart. He carries. 3rd down, about a yard to go for the 1st down.
See, what's amazing is you got a situation coming up here. It's going to be 3rd and short. It's funny that, we as broadcasters tend to label things as conservative. And I just did that on Kevin Gilbride too. But, when Bill Parcells was doing this for the New York Giants, this was smash mouth, old style, great football, and very smart playing. Tom Coughlin worked for Bill Parcells at New York. Kevin Gilbride's a run and shoot offensive coordinator. But they're doing it right now with very, very simple football, with a young offensive line asserting itself.
And now with a blocking back, leading the way. Flag is down inside the 10. It would be 1st down and goal to go. But normally this will be a hold. They'll bring it back.
Yeah, specifically on the tight end on the backside.
Why hold on the backside? Why, if you're holding, shouldn't you be holding at the point of attack?
Guys get away. They're afraid they're going to make a play.
Number 62 on the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
Well, that's Ben Coleman. Watch him. He's lined up at right guard. Guess who he's holding? Guess who's getting the penetration?
Oh, no, I'm not
Michael
so sure
Dean.
of that.
That was a takedown, Charlie.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not the stretched jersey classic what we're used to seeing, but Ben Coleman brought down Michael Dean Perry. It wasn't violent, it wasn't flagrant, but it was holding.
Trying to sneaky hold him.
Well, he's trying to hold a spasm. Michael Dean Perry put a spasm on him, and he got by him.
3rd and 11. If he hurries, he can make it. And he does. Oh, he has to hurry. Oh, Steve Berline, not a running quarterback. And he hurried.
Well, Steve Berline definitely not a threat running. Look at what he does when he steps into this pocket, though. Shane Durnett right here tries to reach around and grab him. He won't have anything of it. Now down the field, here's big Tony Baselli. Look at Baselli getting that cut block, getting a block on Eric Thomas down the field and getting his quarterback those last couple of yards.
Broncos defense in the red zone, 29th in the NFL. Jacksonville in the red zone. That's the 20 in. Another conservative call.
Well,
9-yard line.
You got to make a point here, Charlie. You talk about the red zone. Now, Jacksonville is like number 4 or so in the AFC in the red zone scoring touchdowns. But Kevin Gilbride there makes the point that, you know, that was more with Mark Brunell at quarterback. When defenses had to worry about that scrambling running quarterback. When they had to worry about all the extra things that happen. You see the stats they've had. Those are very impressive. I mean, those are nearly Dallas, San Francisco type numbers as far as getting your touchdowns. But with Steve Berline, they have to run the ball, and they have to be a pocket passing team. He does not have the mobility.
They can pick up a first down inside of the 2 without going in. Over the middle and knocked away. Ernest Givens and Ray Crockett. Look it up. Crockett wins. Doesn't it get crowded over the middle when you're in that close?
It always gets crowded in the middle, and especially when you get into the red zone. But
flag at the 20.
You know, you're going to have another holding penalty working here against Jacksonville. If that was the case, you had a pocket protection. You had a good effort by Steve Berline and a better effort.
Illegal use of hands. Number 73 on the offense. Hands to the face. That's a 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Hands to the face against Brian DeMarco. He looks back at the ref and goes, what? Who? Left side, 73, DeMarco. That wasn't too blatant. I don't agree with that one. That's a case where the defensive end gets the rip underneath like this on that offensive tackle. He's got nothing to do but put that right arm out there.
And when Randy said like this, he just took my arm up and over and moved me right out of the booth. I'll be back in a moment. Incomplete.
Well, you know, they got DeMarco for that hand in the face on the play before. Now on that last play, it looked from up here like he got out of his stance a little early. Yeah. See him kind of squiggle and squeak and try to get out, but still Simon Fletcher gets that arm over and that rip by him.
Notice what? He had a hand to the face.
All right. Well, I mean, just because you get called for something doesn't mean you're going to stop doing it. I mean, that's a reason why in the criminal profession they have a term called repeat offenders. Offensive linemen are habitual repeat offenders. They hold almost all the time, and if something works, they're not going to stop doing it, even if it's called for a penalty.
3 wide receivers. Do you throw to the end zone here? Flags down. They're going to stop it. And it is dropped.
Should have been a touchdown. Remember the play before? Brian DeMarco didn't get called for that rock back, the quick motion. They got him this time.
There is no play. There is no play.
Yeah, there was. I saw it.
Yeah. It's a false start. You know, the rock back is a false start, as they call it. Yes. You know what you saw?
3 on the offense prior to the snap. The 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Brian,
the penalty downfield happened after the play. There was no play.
There's the rock back right there. It is a very subtle job, and you know I can empathize here with DeMarco. I've had days like this.
What goes through his mind in that? Are you trying to buy a half step?
Well, actually, when things start going bad, you get called for a penalty, and you're having a hard time with a quick guy like Simon Fletcher is. You get soft. You lose that aggressive behavior. At Michigan State,
don't make a mistake.
DeMarco was willing to get into somebody's face and really, pound them. Same with Baselli. When they start getting timid, they get soft, and that's when you really get in trouble.
See if he goes the end zone again. Has the time, goes deep. Intercepted.
Braxton was all over that, Charlie. Number 34, Tyrone Braxton, was right there camped in the end zone. How you don't see a guy like that, I really don't understand. Berline's trying to do a touch pass over the top, and the only touch was on Braxton's hands on the ball. A hard time. He does a good job on Fletcher. Everybody's being held out. The only problem is Braxton is all over Gibbons.
And Denver doesn't have a lot of interceptions this year.
Well, only 6 on the year so far. It's Braxton's first one of the year.
Some players have more knocked away. Now they start to put the pressure up front.
Going into today, Denver had 5. Now they have 6. And look at that list of the teams that are involved here. Jacksonville. It's surprising. You've got teams like Denver, Indianapolis, Oakland, Green Bay. These are teams with big winning records, especially Green Bay, Oakland. Green Bay and Oakland there with 8 wins coming into today. With that few interceptions, that is surprising.
John throwing it away almost makes a completion.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the game of golf when you have one of those days when you can't make a 3-foot putt, no matter if you hit it left-handed, with your head, with your foot, with anything. I mean, Jacksonville cannot buy a sack. Joel Smengi is all over John Elway. By every right, that should be a sack for Jacksonville.
Let's give him one.
Well, they came into this game with the fewest amount of sacks in the league. And that's one thing that Denver is sorely needing coming into this game was pass pressure. They've got it on Steve Berline. Jacksonville has not been able to find it so far against John Elway.
We'll call that a TV sack. How's that? We've got some flags, and they're going to stop the play, and John's going to step back. Now, a couple of quick scores, if you didn't pick them up coming by. Washington is leading Dallas in the third quarter 14-10.
Number 69 out of the offense prior to the snap. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
And in the third quarter, Kansas City is leading Oakland 19-10.
We just talked about how few sacks Jacksonville has, and that's being on the wrong end of a list by a whole bunch. So they came into this game, 6 behind Houston. None of those teams you see on the list right now are teams known for sacking of late. And it's ironic to see a team like the New York Giants for so long with LT in the gang, just the scourge of the league, rushing the passer, barely recognize what one looks like now.
Jacksonville, a double blitz. They still can't get to him. He's got the first down.
Well, that's another example, Charlie, what we talked about. If you let John Elway sit back there and you blitz him, watch the job that everybody does. Watch the job Terrell Davis does. He picks up the blitz. Gogenius runs by Elway, and the receiver turns to the quarterback. Did you see the way that play ended? The receiver's numbers were square at John Elway, giving him the target to throw to.
Ed McCaffrey, first down. And Terrell Davis. Now we checked something out on Terrell Davis's numbers by quarter coming into the ball game. In the first quarter, he's rushed for 367 yards. This is each game total. 296 in the second quarter, so a strong first half. They have dropped off in the second, so have his carries. 180 yards in the third, 150 yards in the fourth.
Well, he's got 60 on today, Charlie. I think most of those stats you see there as far as the drop off in the second half is the large number of times John Elway and this offense have been in the bucket and down by a lot of points and can't run the ball late.
I think you're right. He rushed 72 times in the first quarter prior to the ball game and 44 times in the fourth. Good point. Great rule. A little under 3 minutes to go in the third, and Denver still leads at 21-10.
But Terrell Davis, you talk about his rushing stats. What you don't realize is how many yards this guy has from the line of scrimmage. And we're looking at right here his rookies. Obviously, Curtis Martin having a great year rushing the ball at New England, and Callaway and Thomas and Salam. Terrell Davis is up towards the top of the league in total yards from scrimmage. I mean, this guy's having a great year. Might win the Rookie of the Year. I think he's got to beat out Curtis Martin from New England.
I think you're right because of New England, the Eastern Press.
That's right.
Elway again waits, bides time, has the first down. Aaron Craver.
Oh, I tell you what, did you see the end of that play as Aaron Craver came across? Michael Pritchard tried to scrape off with a block right there. I mean, he wanted to absolutely bolo the man. Now watch Craver catch this ball right here. Watch Gogenius come in. Now Thomas gets his hands on him. There's Pritchard right there. If Thomas is a half a step slower, Pritchard catches him, knocks him off, and that play goes for another 10 yards.
First down, Denver at the 44. Blitz again. Safety valve, guess who? Terrell Davis, first down.
Wow.
And they had the blitz coming right up the middle. I don't think Elway hadn't been sacked in the ballgame, has he? No.
Well, I'll tell you what, Aaron Craver does a wonderful job of picking up the blitz. And watch how embarrassing this moment is for Joel Smengi, the linebacker, converted defensive end. That is called being faked out of one's athletic supporter.
Well stated. I was wondering where that was going, actually. And not only that, his shoes and socks.
There's an interesting one. Yeah, of course we exclude special teams. One of the only guys that's ever been selected as a rookie was Vi Sikahema for the Cardinals. And he was selected as a special teams player. And now here's going with a little bit of a change of pace.
Wide receiver reverse. What is this for?
Ed McCaffrey reverse. It's not like you're doing it with Michael Pritchard or you're not doing it with Anthony Miller. You're doing it with McCaffrey.
Why?
They're just trying to catch him off guard. Trying to catch him overcommitting.
To the blitz up the middle?
To Terrell Davis.
Aha.
You're worried about the running back. You're worried about the speed out of the backfield.
Well, they don't know he's from the center.
You're worried, and even Craver, whoever's back there. That's why they're doing it in the other direction, to get the defense to overcommit.
Pitch and go.
Then Milford is a running back. He has 15 rushes on the year. Elway is a magician. Isn't
Look
he?
out.
Look at him. He can go deep. Double coverage. Is it caught?
6.
Yeah. Whoa, Mike Pritchard. Up. Unbelievable. Elway makes it by buying all of that time.
Do you need a better illustration as to why you never give up on John Elway as a receiver and why you never lose your concentration against an Elway offense when you're a defensive back? This guy has lost a lot of steps, never had many steps. Elway gets away from the rush, and you want to talk about some concentration.
And that arm, the magnificent arm.
You know, right now he's in sort of a duel with Dan Marino for the title of greatest quarterback in the history of the league to never win a title. And they're both coming down to the short hairs on where exactly they're going to be in their careers. They don't have many years left.
And the reaction of number 7, John Elway. I put it there. I expect him to catch it. Of course, he's got it. Yes, another 6.
See in the background there, Harry Cohen and company, they got beat for that touchdown. But there's absolutely no way in the NFL a quarterback should be able to stand back there 6, 7, 8 seconds like that. There isn't a defensive backfield in the league that can stand up to that kind of scrutiny and that type of pressure. And this backfield for Jacksonville does not have the talent to stand up to that kind of pressure.
Here's Desmond Howard on the return. They set up a right return. Now he throws back. It's a lateral back to the far side. Down the sideline. Needs a block. Gets it. Still on the sideline.
He's gone.
He's got it. Oh, if he doesn't tire inside the 15.
Last time I saw Desmond Howard do that, he threw it back to Brian Mitchell at RFK, at Washington Redskins, and he does it again.
Jimmy Smith scores his second touchdown. This one on a lateral and a kickoff return. The other was a recovery of a block punt in the end zone.
Amazing. In that game, the Redskins were playing the Falcons. Desmond Howard threw it back to Brian Mitchell. Brian Mitchell took it the distance for a touchdown. Here, watch it, Jimmy Smith. Look at the blocking he's getting up front. And the kickoff coverage team of Denver is fooled, and they're made to look like, Charlie, they took another play off. And look at Berline. Well, don't worry, Denver, we're not laughing at you. We're laughing with you. And another great play. Look at Larry Pasquale's getting the handshakes all over the place today.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a block punt. He's got, look, that's a deep sigh of relief.
Meanwhile, Denver has to take a timeout. They did not have the right players on, just in case they want to go for 2. Back in a moment.
Presents They Need a Miracle.
Out because Jacksonville goes for 2. They trail now 28-16. If they're successful, they're down by 10. Touchdown field goal, you're tied.
Well, the one time Coughlin went for it was, like I mentioned, 2 weeks ago. First time in the history of the NFL since they've gone to this 2-point conversion. A coach elected to go for the win instead of the tie. Lost that game 17-16. In that game, Berline tried to throw a little pass out in the flat to Jimmy Smith, and the ball was knocked down by the Tampa Bay defender. And if I'm Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator there on the sideline for the Denver Broncos, I'm thinking tight end here. If it's not a run, I am going to find out where the tight end. The tight end for the game right now is 85, Griffith.
This is for 2. Howard in motion. Pressure up the middle. It is intercepted. And that's it.
That's it.
The interception, the two-point conversion fails. The score remains Denver 28 and Jacksonville 16 as the quarter comes to an official close. And we'll be back right after these messages from your local station. Scoring by quarters with the moon in the background. Warren Moon next Saturday on NBC. And we'll be there. Here's Rod Smith, one of the upbacks. Why in the world has Jacksonville kicked off short every time? So Denver has had field position like the 30, the 39, the 31, the 41, you know, somewhere in that neighborhood every time they've kicked short.
I think a lot of it's due to the fear and respect that Tom Coughlin and Larry Pasquale have for Glenn Milburn. But you see the disgust right there on Tom Coughlin's face. He's not real happy. And the reason he's not happy is, hey, I want it high. I want it hanged up in the air, but I do not want it that short. You're giving John Elway unbelievable field position. And
Elway has thrown for 4 touchdowns in the ball game. He's got 22 on the year. He comes out throwing it. Now for an update. Let's go to New York. Greg Gumbel. Greg?
All right, Charlie, in Oakland put another notch on Marcus Allen's belt. This is a 25-yard dash to the 2-yard line. 2 plays later, he scored his 125th career touchdown that ties him for 3rd place all time with Walter Payton, the Chiefs, with a 19-10 lead on the Raiders in the 3rd. Charlie?
And answering the question, Kansas City for real. They certainly are.
Well, I guess you got to believe old Marcus Allen about that, tacking those 3 wasted years for the Raiders on the backside of his career in Kansas City.
And Steve Berline, we talked about that. Of course, he had some wasted years also.
Right there. That's a little bit close there on Joel Smengi, putting a little smack-o on John Elway. Watch what Elway does. Terrell Davis is in there blocking. He's trying to be in for the screen. Elway sees him fall on the ground, so Elway throws the ball down into the ground.
Yeah, but that's
wasn't in slow motion. It was much less violent.
Yeah.
But only
most things are.
See, John Elway kind of gets up and shrugs, like, you know, merely a flesh wound, no bad idea. And by the way, Mr. Referee, I wouldn't mind if you threw a flag.
4 receivers downfield. Elway's got it. A pretty good move in the open field, and not a slide, a dive. Oh, the old man can still motor, can't he? He's in his 13th year. He told us yesterday, this is the first year anybody's asked me about retiring.
Well, this is a play of momentum and gravity. He got the momentum going, so the body's moving. Now here comes the gravity part. It didn't move in much further, not forward. Those legs started going down way before the upper body did. He was getting tired.
Yeah, but he saw a safety coming across too.
Yeah, he's definitely a quarterback that knows when to live to fight another day.
Oh, yeah. And he converts on 3rd down. He, of course, will be known in history for the drives. He's had drives here. I've had a chance to cover several of them. And in Cleveland, I've had a chance to cover them. And always on those long drives, he has a couple of 3rd down and longs or 4th down and longs that he ends up scrambling for. Always.
I mean, here's a guy. He's got 1 more year left in his contract here in Denver, Charlie. He's 35 years old. I look for John Elway to play till he's 38, 39. In fact, he talked about it. He's expecting them to add a couple of years back onto his contract and work something out. And really, he thinks within 2 or 3 years, they've got Super Bowl type potential here in Denver. And he's the first one to tell you they don't have Super Bowl potential right now as far as where they're sitting. And specifically, that problem is not on the offensive side of the ball.
It's on the defense.
It's definitely on the defense. I mean, they don't have defensive personnel. I mean, heck, their defensive personnel doesn't scare the Jacksonville Jaguars today.
Yeah, you're right.
Berline and them have been ineffective and hit and miss in some on offense, but it's very obvious they're not intimidated by Denver's defense. They don't have a pass rusher here in Denver, and they really need cornerbacks that can cover man-on-man to enable Greg Robinson and his defensive scheme to do what he wants to do, and that's pressure, blitz, and run.
He is on tagging into tight coverage. Pritchard pulls it in. He has scored a touchdown and a big one in the ball game. Elway, when he throws into a receiver with tight coverage, he always puts it where only his man can get it.
Well, watch Pritchard move across the formation. Here you've got linebackers and Dave Thomas. The linebackers are dropping off in zone. Dave Thomas lined up at a nickelback. He's dragging across the formation with Pritchard. And like you said, I mean, that ball is put right where that right hand can get at it, and the left hand of Thomas can't.
It's a first down. We've got a timeout. We'll step aside. Denver is up 28-16. Back in a moment.
Brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Coors Light, shipped cold to bring you all that is great about the Rockies. Tap the Rockies with Coors Light. And by IBM, solutions for a small planet.
Sellout crowd here at Mile High Stadium, but 4,000 no-shows, and they are being booed. But not very many no-shows in Jacksonville at the stadium. It's almost a free out of the Fan Appreciation Day, and glad that all of you that are still there watching the ball game on the big Jumbotron are enjoying it along with us. And Randy, what about this Jacksonville team?
I think they're going in the right direction. It's really the advantage, I think, that these two expansion teams, Carolina and Jacksonville, have had this year. They've done it the right way. Tom Coughlin is the football guy in Jacksonville. David Selden runs the business / entertainment side of it. They've got great football people and very, very good business people. It's a good meld, good combination. They've got the good young talent. They're going to be a factor in the AFC Central or AFC whatever if they stay in the AFC after the '97 season. Much as the same in Carolina. They've got a full onslaught, an array of talent football-wise, and they've got a very good businessman / football player in Jerry Richardson in Carolina. So they've really gone about this the right way. And if I'm in Jacksonville, I'm extremely excited about the Jaguars.
And John Elway did not like what he saw. He took a countdown all the way to 1 second on the play clock. Then he called for the timeout. So we'll step aside, and we'll be back in a moment. Denver up 28-16, 11.5 almost left.
Domino's Pizza. Call now and have Domino's deliver the ultimate deep dish pizza. Because when it's gotta be deep, it's gotta be Domino's.
John Elway has thrown for 268 yards in this ball game. On the year, 3,211, and that now ties him with Dan Marino with the most 3,000 passing seasons. They have 10 apiece. Elway's thrown for 3,211, and he still has almost 11.5 minutes left to throw, but they go back to the ground here.
It's going to leave him with a 3rd and short situation. It was a good job of bowing up by the front of that Jacksonville defense. And if you're in this situation, you hated that kind of 2nd and short with John Elway, because that's play action all the way. And I think if he had a healthy Shannon Sharp, who's out today after getting poked in the eye earlier in the game, if he had a healthy Shannon Sharp, he might have gone up straight up the middle on a pass play there.
3rd down and 2. Does he go to the end zone here?
I don't think so, but you can't keep ignoring the fact that Anthony Miller hasn't done much since he caught that big couple passes in the first half.
And a little short on.
Oh, nice job by Keith Gilganius, I think, up there working in front on coverage, and up front, Kelvin Pritchard. Watch what happens as John Elway steps up. Good job by the offensive line. They give him a pocket. They give him a way to go. And Pritchard just gets on that right arm and makes Elway short arm.
And so Jason Elam, 29-yard line, 39-yard field goal attempt. Elam is at 24 of 29, 5 of 6, over 50 yards, well within his range. He is hit from 56 yards away. He nails this one and add 3. 31-16 Denver. 1 left in the ball game. Denver up comfortably, 31-16. Jason Elam will kick it away. Desmond Howard on the return. Out to the 24-yard line. Next Saturday, NBC Sports presents more exciting NFL action, starting at a special time, 12 noon Eastern time of the NFL on NBC. Future Hall of Famer Joe Montana joining Mike Ditka and Joe Gibbs, along with co-hosts Greg Gumbel and Ahmad Rashad. That will be followed, of course, by the ball game. Warren Moon, the NFL's leading receiver, Chris Carter, lead the Minnesota Vikings against the Cleveland Browns. The special Saturday edition of the NFL on NBC starts it all at 12 noon Eastern time. Randy and I will be there for that ball game.
You know, Charlie, when you start getting the Saturday games in December, you know you're making that stretch run towards the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, fortunately this year, is here on NBC, played down in beautiful Tempe, Arizona.
Cedric Tillman with the first down for Jacksonville. Yes, and in Tempe or in the Phoenix area, the Valley of the Sun, they had their kickoff luncheon. Steve Atwater is the injured player. So they kicked off the Super Bowl. We're going to kick ourselves to New York for an update. Greg.
All right, Charlie, I'm just full of nice
Problems that the Chargers have had this year is their wide receivers dropping a lot of footballs. All of a sudden, they're holding the last few ball games, and they also are in the wild card picture.
You see Steve Atwater coming off the field a couple weeks ago against the San Diego Chargers. He hyperextended his elbow. Actually, that was about 4 weeks ago against Seattle. Hyperextended. He saw he's wearing that great big pad on his left elbow. Looks like he's re-aggravated that thing.
Throwing on first down. Has a man open, hits him. Good pass, good reception, 41-yard line.
Again, he's going to the former Bronco, Cedric Tillman. And what they're doing, remember we talked about the conservative nature? What they're doing here with the passing game, they're getting this man coverage, and they're going back behind the linebackers. Everything's being cleared out inside underneath for the receivers. Tillman's coming inside, and much like we're seeing the square body being presented to the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, for Jacksonville, Steve Berline's seeing back there. They see Tillman takes that quick left turn, and you're seeing most of the jersey. It's a good target for Berline.
What will the Bronco defense do to adjust against this?
Probably blitz. Here it comes.
Lachey Maston on the handoff.
And Steve Atwater's arm's feeling better. That was Atwater, 27, filling up from his safety position.
He's a big safety too, isn't he?
And it is a blitz. Watch Aldridge, 57, coming on the blitz from the backside. Just get a little piece of him, knocks him off. Britt Hager gets the first stop, and then all of a sudden, Mr. number 27 there, Steve Atwater, comes in and puts the kibosh to the whole deal.
6'3", 217. That's a big safety.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we always think John Elway's big as a quarterback, big physical guy. I think Atwater's mislisted. I think he's higher in the 6'4", 6'5 category. He looks gigantic.
Again, same spot underneath the coverage. Desmond Howard this time. You'll pick up the first down. He's had a pretty good day, hasn't he?
Well, he's seen more passes thrown in his direction and handled the ball more times in this one day in Denver than he did in his entire stay at Washington for the Redskins. I mean, the main reason he's at the expansion team in Jacksonville was Washington gave up on the guy. He was described to me in the past by Rod Dowhauer, then the offensive coordinator, as a guy that will eventually be a good number 3 receiver. He doesn't have the speed or the ability to be a star in this league, and he's come down here trying to prove Dowhauer wrong, but so far he hasn't.
Back underneath the coverage again. This time it's a running back, James Stewart. They're going to feast on that until they take it away.
Well, and this really illustrates what we're seeing right now is Berline and this offense marching the ball down the field in the last 2 possessions. Remember, the possession before what ended in the Braxton interception, Berline and the offense were moving the ball like crazy, and herein lies the problem in Denver. Kevin Gilbride's offense is really putting the ball all over the field on this Broncos defense that is not able to stop them. Sure, they're ahead. You know, they're 15 points up. There's a little bit of a lackadaisical attitude by the defense. The point is, it shouldn't be there, and Jacksonville shouldn't be able to take this much advantage of this team.
And then back to the running game just to see if they're paying homage to it, and they're waiting on it.
Well, that play should have been stopped, Charlie, for a 1-yard loss.
You're right. You're right.
You know, this Denver defense right now is playing fat and happy, and they've got no reason to be either. This play is stopped, then it's not stopped, then it's really not stopped. And when you have a draw play, you have to rely on your safety to fill up from 8 to 10 yards deep, and you're Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator. You know you've got a problem defensively with your front 7.
Denver's defense does play better at home. They do feed on the crowd here at Mile High Stadium. Here comes the blitz. It's picked up. On target. Touchdown. Oh. Jimmy Smith. That's his 3rd touchdown of the afternoon. He's having a career day as he breaks a tackle.
Remember what I talked about. Pressure on the quarterback and poor tackling. Specifically the first tackle. That's something that Greg Robinson, the coordinator, has been plagued with all year. Watch Lachey Maston, 35, pick up the blitz. Coleman picks up the blitz.
That is the 10th time in the ball game that the first tackler has not made the stop.
Well, and Eric Thomas had every opportunity. Part of the reason behind that missed tackle, obviously, is trying to get to the ball, but you've got to be tackling desperately once you miss that ball if you're a defensive back.
Now you play the numbers game, so you go for 1. It's good.
One more time. Watch Smith take the quick cut in. Thomas going for the strip. Why do you go for the strip when you're about to give up a touchdown? That's ridiculous.
If you're up early enough to have the road to yourself, driving can actually be fun.
For the first time, Jacksonville kicks deep, 7-yard line. Milburn on the return. They have been afraid of this man. They deck him. 24-yard line. John Elway will bring out the offense. The fourth quarter magician.
Everybody talks about what this guy does as far as the comebacks go, but look what kind of a year he's had. That is just this year in the fourth quarter alone, and it's incredible. I mean, defensive coordinators, if they had a list of people they would least like to see with the ball at the end of the game ever, this guy's in the top 3 or 4. I mean, obviously you put Montana in there, you put Johnny Unitas in there, you put Elway in there.
Marino. Here's a sweep right. And you can kind of make your list in any order that you want. Now Denver will work on the clock. 6:05 and counting. Up by 8 points.
Well, much like they did against San Diego a couple weeks ago.
Touchdown, 2 points.
Yeah.
We're in overtime.
A couple weeks ago against San Diego, they were in a fairly similar situation later on. And at one stage, it was 21-20 or 27-27, and they just ran the ball down for the field goal. Here is Terrell Davis time.
Jerry Evans tied in. He scored a touchdown to the ball.
Ball's on the ground.
Jacksonville has it.
They did.
Yes,
It is a fumble.
Yes, they do.
I thought they were going to call that his forward motion had been stopped, but he gets stripped on the sideline.
Touchdown, 2 points. They're tied. Whoa.
Now watch how this happens. Mickey Washington, 25. Joel Smengi. Look at Mickey Washington. He just takes it away from the big guy. He just absolutely picks the guy's pocket. Oh, my goodness. I mean, he's giving away 50, 60 pounds to Jerry Evans. He takes the ball flat away. And I'll tell you what, this crowd is booing, and they are not booing the call by the officials. They're booing the effort by the Denver Broncos. And suddenly, like a light switch, Denver has to defensively try to turn it on and off, and it ain't that easy.
Successful throwing over the middle, goes deep. The receiver had cut it off. It is incomplete. Jimmy Smith, and he wanted a pass interference call. He's not going to get it.
Well, Jimmy Smith got jammed about the 10, 12-yard line. That's what he was complaining about. That's exactly why Berline threw it deep. He thought he'd get around that jam, and he didn't.
Mickey Washington, who just stole the ball, said the defense is still trying to find their personality.
Well, they're thieves. That's a good personality to have. Only in football, though.
A running play? No. Vaughn Dunbar, a couple of yards.
I think what they're trying to do right there, Charlie, to be honest with you, sure, that's conservative, but Kevin Gilbride is counting, or was counting, on an aggressive play, a blitz, and be able to pop a quick run on him right there and catch him in that blitz. He didn't get him in the blitz, and couldn't outguess Greg Robinson right there.
Third down. They're in 4-down territory, of course. 5 minutes, time remaining, exactly.
Somehow, some way, Jacksonville needs a little bit of help right here offensively.
They're going to an audible, and the crowd is in the middle of it.
Too much time.
No, they'll stop it. And the crowd caused it.
Delay a game on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Top of the telecast, you talked about how difficult it is to come in and play in Mile High Stadium with this crowd.
Well, the team seems to really feed off it. In fact, the defense is sort of coming alive. I talked about that light switch on and off. The crowd is helping that switch get flipped up onto the on position for the Denver Broncos. For Jacksonville, if you're a tackle, you're going on the ball movement. If you're a quarterback, you're going to have to give him the little foot hike to get Dave Waddell to snap you the ball. He won't be able to hear you.
They pull back. Tony Vaselli.
Tony Vaselli guessing.
Play a game on the offense, number 71. Excuse me.
Another 5 yards. Credit the crowd.
Number 71. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
The best defense that Denver's had on this drive has been the 74,000 plus here in this stadium.
You're right. And most of them have stayed, too. In the south stands, they always stay in the south stand, the right end zone. And that's the stomping. The stomping will cause our cameras to move up and down if you see a little jumping here. As time, no more. No mas. Coverage sack. Cadrez. Second sack for the Broncos.
And
25 on the year.
Got plenty of time, Charlie.
Yes.
Just wait and wait. Cadrez was working against Baselli. Comes in at the last minute. And I mean, this is a no-brainer right here for Jacksonville. It's 4th down, and Tom Coughlin says, you know, if I went for it on 4th and 1 on a drive in the 3rd quarter, you don't think I'm going to punt it here. I'm going for it on 4th.
They're going to take time out. 5 seconds on the play clock. We'll step aside. The crowd will tell you the story as we go to commercial. Can I get a Diet Coke? Thank you. Me? Waning moments. What do you do?
Well, I tell you what,
throw,
if
yeah.
Tom Coughlin's brought out of this thing today anything, he has found himself a big play football player in Jimmy Smith. Recovered the block kick for a touchdown. The throwback on the kickoff return for a touchdown, the pass for a touchdown. I think you go to him. He's the one guy that's proven he wants the ball when things are tough.
And he wears number 82, and he is wide right corner of your screen. No flags on the snap. Pressure. Out of time.
Cadrez.
And there wasn't anybody to throw to downfield.
That play was doomed, Charlie, from the minute Berline starts rolling right. Look at him looking left. He wants to throw to the left side where Jimmy Smith was lined up. His receivers don't move to him. His receivers don't adjust to him. He's got nowhere to go but to be run to ground by Glenn Cadrez. Look at Smith. He's heading straight up that seam.
He couldn't find him, though.
Berline's got nowhere to go. He's running for his life to the right. Where was Desmond Howard? He's running a clear-out pattern up to the top of the screen. That's not moving back to the quarterback either. Obviously, Gilbride and company offensively, a long way to go in coordination.
Denver taking over on downs. Now the rook on the clock. Terrell Davis. We're moving on the 4-minute mark, time remaining.
Well, this is what I referred to when I was playing, and Bill Walsh loved this time of a game, Charlie. This is the 4-minute offense. And you're going to see this.
And now we know about the 2-minute offense.
Yeah.
Explain the 4-minute offense.
You're going to see the pushing and shoving because this is an attitude time for the offense for the Denver Broncos. They're going to run the ball. You want to keep the ball inbounds. If you're Gary Kubiak, the offensive coordinator there with Mike Shanahan and Hugh Millen, you're going to get the ball to Terrell Davis. You're going to lead block, and you're just going to work that thing down as low as you can get it. You see the play clock? It'll go inside of 3 every time with John Elway.
Snap on 2 on the play clock. We've got a flag. Another flag. 3 or 4 yards up the middle.
A little early motion.
3:26. That is the time remaining. (31-23). The margin is 8 points.
Offside on the defensive nose tackle. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
And another thing that a veteran team does, this situation, you do not make mistakes. You do not cause penalties. You do not stop the clock.
You can't really afford to really get into that situation. Now, you've had a lineman line up offsides once. Watch Sean Elway hit his snap count here and try to get him another one.
The ever-present rushing attack. Terrell Davis, they'll take all kinds of time just unpiling.
See, watch the body language of the guys in the orange jerseys. Every chance to bump into somebody and stop, they'll take it. Just to start over and amble on back to the huddle. And, you know, an offensive line here looks like a herd of like cows. Grazing in the field very slowly and leisurely. They'll make their way to the line.
Do you practice that?
You really do. That's, you know, it's called an amble drill. You kind of amble.
Amble drill?
It's an amble drill. You amble around.
It's a Steve Spielberg ambling along. Yeah. It's a production. 1 second to snap on the play clock.
So you're seeing the 4-minute offense run extremely well by John Elway. And we talk about the 2-minute and what a master he is at that.
Yeah.
There's a whole different thing to this. And I know Mike Shanahan and the Broncos practice this. You practice your 4-minute offense starting in training camp. Because this isn't something you just sort of start doing. You have to have a regular playlist on the sideline of exactly you want to do.
And they'll amble to the line of scrimmage.
See, there's no amble here.
Yeah.
There's no amble.
They don't have to because
they're watching the clock.
The way the time works.
That's
They'll
right.
take it, go to 2 minutes.
Well, it's the anti-ambling alerts kind of come on here pretty quick.
Jacksonville has 1 timeout remaining. The Denver Broncos have 1 timeout remaining. We have 2 minutes remaining. We'll be back in just a moment to Mile High Stadium in Denver. It's left here. 3:30 left. Washington, Dallas. Redskins lead the Cowboys 24-10. Elway with the fake. Throws. One-hand grab. First down. Oh, Jerry Evans, who has scored a touchdown in the ball game. That is his 4th reception of the game. And marked down, he had only 8 before today. Now 12 on the year. 4 big ones.
Well, he's getting up a little slow, holding that left knee. That's how you make up for getting your pocket picked.
Standing here, led by their quarterback, Steve Bono.
Well, obviously not letting that loss 10 days ago to the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving bother him too much. And in a game, really, they were in the whole way. I thought the big thing there was not going for that field goal, but the 3rd quarter for the Chiefs. But you see Jerry Evans slowly getting up, and at the end of this reception, he's concentrating so hard on the ball itself, you don't concentrate on what the rest of your body's doing. And remember, this is the guy that Mickey Washington picked his pocket and took the ball away from him.
That's a great catch.
The left leg gets bent out. You see the left leg like that, the way it was straight out to the ground, and Davis landed right on that knee. Remember, Shannon Sharp is out of the game. Now Evans is out of the game. Remember the big hit earlier on the kickoff? Carswell? On the punt return, Carswell?
And also, Brian Chamberlain, the rookie they activated this week, is a tight end.
That also means we get our best guy that can block in there right now. We give the ball to Terrell Davis behind Craven.
There's the whole 9 yards. And that was the whole 9 yards. Here's a note, a reminder that following the game on most of these stations, an NBC special called Extremely Weird. And you'll see why. And then it's Mad About You and Hope and Gloria, followed by the world premiere movie of Shadow of a Doubt. Viewers on the West Coast, of course, will see these shows at their regularly scheduled time. Tonight on NBC, it all starts with Extremely Weird.
Well, speaking of extremely weird.
There's a former broadcaster. No.
Wow. Look at this guy. I wonder if they count him in the attendance. And how many does he count for? Yeah, the old theory about, what does a 10-ton gorilla get? Oh, anything he wants.
And where does he stand? Anywhere he wants to.
My first question, go back to that gorilla real quick, guys. Is he blessing the stadium?
A gorilla blessing?
Well,
No,
look at his
what,
hand.
Look what he's doing. You know what he's doing?
Oh, no. Oh, they're swearing him in.
You know what he's doing? No. He's getting set to amble.
That's right. What do? You got to just stick a fork in something like that and get the air out of him, don't you? You can't leave that up all. That thing would blow all the way to Texas, and these storms around here, they left them up. Terrell, and more Terrell.
Yes. And the story of the drive, Terrell. He'll pick up the first down. 119 and counting.
Tom Coughlin and these Jaguars are going to be a very good football team. They've struggled through some tough games. Remember, they scored on a special teams hit on the block kick. They scored on a special teams throwback from Desmond Howard. They've done it different ways today, not offensively. They've got their problems offensively. I think this game is less of an indication of how bad Jacksonville is and more of an indication of how sad the situation is with Denver, because winning this game, they're going to be 7-6. They're going to be in the playoff wild card hunt, and this is not a very good team with what I think is a bad defense.
And talking of the playoff picture, remember there will be 3 who make it. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Buffalo right now leading the 3, and then 3 wild cards.
And also, remember what San Diego's doing to Cleveland down at Jack Murphy. San Diego's going to move to 6-7, and they have the type of a record they could run the table and end up at 9-7 and be right in the thick of this thing.
It's going to be interesting the next 3 weeks.
Well, and also remember, next week for these Broncos, Seattle. And then it's a 2-week or half-a-month reality check for John Elway and the Broncos. 2 Kansas City and 2 Oakland.
And for Jacksonville, they host Indianapolis, at Detroit, and then they wrap it up at home hosting Cleveland. That makes it a final Denver 31 and Jacksonville 23. Back in a moment. The final score, Mile High Stadium, the Jacksonville Jaguars 23. The Denver Broncos win it with 31 points. Randy Cross, I'm Charlie Jones. So long for Denver. NBC Sports, home of Super Bowl 30.